Colonel, I implore you. We must destroy that tower.
Sergeant, that tower is one of the oldest and most treasured of all the historically important structures still standing. And I'm not gonna be the son of a bitch responsible for turning 1,000 years of history into dust. The tower stands!
Hello YouTube and hello 9th Age communities. This is Charles, Thermashit Gaming, and this is Siege of the Tower Game 2. Got to play against War's Dark God player. I actually played him last year at Siege of the Tower. It's good old Tom Minter with his really great looking army. Lots of custom build models. This year he's got a Chosen Lord. I'm not really entirely sure everything he's got, but I'm pretty sure he's got like a 1-up, 5-up, and he's got the Burning Portent, which is like the... He's only strength 5, but he does D3 wounds, and I think he allows no armor save. So, pretty good sword. Exalted Herald, and then he's got a Sorcerer, rocking Evocation, and the getting an extra channel, and he's got a 4 Aegis save. Then he's got 2 units of 15 warriors, one's with the Banner of Relentless Company, 3 Chosen Knights with Pride, 2 things of 5 Warhounds, a single Warrior Chariot, and then 7 Knights with Lance, Soccer Standard, Champ, Standard, and then a Marauding Giant, which would be even better in his later games because they have 2 Giants basically. So starting off looking at deployment, he's got his Giant on the right next to some Warhounds, and then his 3 Chosen Knights, and then in the middle of the picture with that big yellow model, that's his Lord, and then with the 7 Knights, which doesn't even seem really big, but like when you look at them, it's like, ooh, it looks really big and scary. Next to them is the 15 warriors with the paired weapons, without the Banner Relentless Company, or yeah, Banner Relentless Company. And then next to them, a little bit spaced out between. There's a little bit of space. There's nothing of 5 Warhounds. The other 15 warriors, the Chariot, and then the Exalted Herald is all the way on the left of the deployment. And then just want to get a quick pick of the Chosen Knights. That Lord there on the left, I'm pretty sure it's all green stuff. Tom's done a lot of great work on his models. He's got a really good looking army. So looking at the EOS deployment, I have my Steam Tank on my right, next to 5 Knights, and then my 4 Knights of Sun Griffon, peeking in that forest a little bit, and then I've got my big unit Imperial Guard with my BSB and my Marshal, also in the forest. And then I've got my Arcane Engine behind them, and next to the Arcane Engine is my pretty big unit of light infantry. It's 20 light infantry with handguns. Next to them is my Wizard and his bunker of archers. Next to them are the crossbowmen, which I kind of wish I put them a little bit farther back now I'm looking at this picture. Next to them is the 20 halberdiers, 20 heavy infantry with halberds. Really wasn't sure what I wanted to do with those guys this game, so they just kind of got put there. And then mortar and a cannon holding down the left flank. So I think we traded a couple deployments, but I have a lot more drops than him, so he definitely got the chance to kind of place things where he wanted and then go for turn 1. So War's Dark God turn 1. The only difference thing about this scenario is that everything had to take a leadership test or discipline test the turn 1. To see if they can march or not, and most of his dogs failed, which was big because they get like that extra movement to march turn 1. So his dogs don't really get to go very far. But other than that, really that was kind of only big thing. The objective is capture the flags. So he just he moves up not too aggressively with everything just yet. Yeah, and then in the magic phase he gets hasten the call off on my Imperial Guard, so he kills the champion and he puts a wound on my Marshal, my BSB. That spell's going to give me trouble all game. And then I want to say he reduces their weapon skill on the Knights of Sun Griffon. I really wasn't worried about that. I was trying to stop Wrath of the Gods. EOS turn 1. Don't really do much movement. I get Ice of Fire off on those dogs, and I do a little damage to them. And I think I get them down to 1 model. I don't remember how I killed this single model. But I do know I get rid of it later. And then I also put Altered Sight on my light infantry. Because they've got accurate order on them too from my Marshal. And they're within 6 inches, so you know that whole unit 20 is getting to shoot, which is awesome. Started War of the Dark Gods, turn 2. He uses the banner of Relentless Company to really push up the unit of warriors on the left in this picture, and otherwise he's just kind of inching up. He's not really, he's protecting his Exalted Herald on the left there with that hill. And yeah, I don't really think much happens in Magic or anything else, so we push right to EOS turn 2. I put Accurate again on my light infantry. And he moved up his dogs on the last turn to kind of block my Knights of Sun Griffins, so I put my Knights into them. Just get rid of them. You can always flee with those guys later. I throw an Ice and Fire on the warriors. They really bumped up. They got really close to me now, so I have to really target them with everything, but I don't really do too many wounds. Just got a good armor save still, even against, you can still make 6 ups against the Ice and Fire. That was what I got for this magic phase on turn 2. And then I also put Altered Sight on my light infantry again, because I just love that spell. And then I shoot at them, but again, they still got a 5-0 save against it. I guess those shields and the Chaos armor, so I think they're down to 7 models. I think I killed 5 when I shot at them, between my crossbows and my light infantry, but I just can't whittle them down, unfortunately. My cannon, both my cannons I think been opening up on this guy, because I think my cannon can just kind of see him all the way across the battle. He's got like 5 wounds on him now, which is pretty good. Be nice to just get rid of him before he goes into that steam tank. In combat over here, I kill all but one of the dogs. I just let it flee. I have to reform. I don't really want to put the knights in too bad of a position. So started War of Dark Gods turn 2. He is going to charge the crossbows, and then he's also going to charge the steam tank with his giant. And then he has a longer charge over here with his Pride Chosen to go into my Knights of Sun Griffin. So he makes it in with the warriors on the crossbowmen. And of course the giant makes it in, but thankfully the Chosen do not make it in, so they fall short. And then this is what the rest of the board looks like. So now his Exalted Herald kind of really bumped up. I can't see him past the giant, or past the chariot, unfortunately. So he's hiding his Exalted really well against me. The chariot went into the heavy infantry, actually, I think. And then, yeah, I'm just kind of facing down all this, big nasty units on my right flank. And he gets another Hasten the Hour off now on my Imperial Guards. So now it's like, it's really go time. Like, I can't let this spell go through it once more. Otherwise, all my characters, like 2 of my characters just die. But this is my problem all game. He also gets a Wrath of the Gods down by my 2 War Machines. And I just can't stop. I just couldn't stop either of them. Like, all game, it was either like, I'm trying to stop Hasten the Hour, or I'm trying to stop Wrath of the Gods. And either like I'm saving my dice to stop one, and I just like I can't beat his casting roll. So his magic was really good all game. The chariot kills a bunch of guys, but I believe I passed their steadfast test, and they stick around for this combat. I don't do any wounds to him. And then the warriors, I actually kill a couple surprisingly, and I think I might have been steadfast randomly. I think he rolled really poorly, but I still fail, and he chases me down, but he doesn't go off the board. EOS turn 3, I put Accurate again on my light infantry, and then I tried to charge the steam tank into these guys. I only needed like an 8 or a 7, and I failed it by like a ½ inch, as you can see in that picture. And then yeah, so at this point, I had to turn my light infantry, and I'm kind of backing my archers up. I just like a big hole. He forced a big hole in my line with those warriors. I just couldn't blow them away with home. I had like a lot of shooting my list and magic, and those warriors just shrug off a lot of damage, unfortunately. So yeah, had to turn my light infantry because I also got to face down the Exalted Herald, and yeah, it's and I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to deal with all those knights and like those chosen knights. I was tempted to charge my Knights of Sun Griffin in, but I didn't want to fail that charge and then fail with the steam tank and then get charged. It's just, yeah, it was all bad. So I get a 5 flex card in turn 3. I get Ice and Fire off, and oh man, I want to say I get like a great amount of hits, like 8 or 9 hits on this unit, and I do like 4 or 5 wounds, and he makes up like a couple 6s on it, and he keeps one of these guys alive, which is just like killing me that he's just had one of these guys alive. And then I put Altered Sight on my light infantry because, again, like I can stand and shoot against that Exalted Herald if they go into them. But I believe I also end up having to use them to just kill that last chosen, that last little warrior guy. And then I think I also throw a Quicksilver Lash onto his Exalted Herald, but he stops that spell, unfortunately. And then looking at, and then going into the shooting phase. Oh, never mind. Wrath of the Gods drops down, of course. Kills a bunch of archers. This is one from the previous turn. Kills a bunch of archers. Doesn't kill any light infantry. It was too far away. Kills one of the Knights of Sun Griffins. Kills like the whole last line of the Imperial Guard, and it puts a few wounds on the Arcane Engine. That spell is very good right now. Ugh, yeah. I had a hard time this whole game with that spell and Haste in the Hour. It's a very good combination of magic for Tom. And then, yeah, I use my head. I'm pretty sure I shot the archers at that one warrior, hoping to get, like, one bow shot to go through. And I want to say I got a wound, and then he just passes his armor save. So then I felt like I had to use light infantry. I don't know if it would have been better to shoot at the Exalted Herald twice in a row, but yeah, I don't know. I wanted to put a lot of damage on that guy before he got to combat, but I just couldn't do it. And then the Chariot beats the heavy infantry. They just flee off the board, and he just reforms. Yeah, I just gotta pass my steadfast test. So whereas Dark God's turn 4, the Exalted Herald charges the light infantry, and I stand true and I actually need 2 wounds. So I feel like that tells me, although I was hitting better this round, because I think I was hitting on 3s, I had to move them last round, so I was probably hitting on 5s. So I maybe could have done 1 wound last time. The 2 wounds I thought were pretty good, but he obviously makes it into light infantry, and then this is where he can regain wounds too, so yeah. The Chariot starts moving at the cannon, and he surprisingly didn't want to charge the steam tank. I thought that was kind of an interesting choice. Maybe I think he was worried about my Knights of Sun Griffin coming in, so he just kind of backed up a little bit. He gets another Wrath of the Gods down. It's a little green marble. It's just like, I just can't stop him. You know, it's like, I think at this point I had to stop Hasten the Hour every time. And he's probably casting out a few, like, 3 or 4 dice, and then he just like throws Wrath of the Gods. And you're like, oh, okay, great. I actually put the leadership test, the 3d6 leadership on my light infantry. Gonna see how long they can stick around in combat. I put my steam tank this time. It makes, the 2 inches it needs to do to get into the Pride Chosen, which is great. And then this is what the board looks like. So I've kind of got my Knights of Sun Griffin there. Although at this point, I almost kind of want the steam tank just to grind against those Pride Chosen, because he's got his Knights turn to charge them if the steam tank kills them. Flux card 7 on turn 4, pretty good. I'm able to get Quicksilver Lash on over here. I do 3 wounds, which is great. And then I think I throw, I throw Unity Divergence on my Imperial Guard, sort of as like maybe to stop Hasten the Hour, but also just because, like, I don't know, I was worried about getting charged by other things. And then I believe between all my shooting, between the cannon and the archers, I just can't do another single wound. And I want to say the cannon, I used the grape shot, and I got like a decent amount of hits, and I hit with them, and then I just couldn't roll like a 5 to wound or something like that because it was only strength 4. It's AP 4, so all I needed to roll was like a 5. It was like 4 hits. I was like, ugh. Yeah, that was a bummer. In combat, I use the impact hits because they're strength 7, and I just do 2 wounds, which is okay. I wouldn't combat, I want to say, just by like a charge, but he's got like he gets to reroll his break test, so he sticks around. And then in combat over here, he wins. He won on his last turn, so he got a wound back. He actually is like taking a long time for him to chip through this guy. I don't think he's got a Thunder Stomp anymore, so it's, yeah, that's right. So he's not like a real monster, so it's a little bit hard for him to kind of bust through infantry like that. And I'm just steadfast the entire time. Where's Dark God turn 2? I want to say he puts like Break the Spirit on, or he puts a couple Evocation Hexes on this unit. He gets another Wrath of the Gods down. He charged my cannon. I kind of flashed past that picture, but he charged my cannon, of course. The Wrath of the Gods builds up, I want to say. It's getting just deadlier. Cherry has no problem pushing over the cannon. Yeah. And then, yeah, over here, it's a total push again. I can't do any wounds to him, which, again, I'm, like, almost okay with at this point. And he only does, like, nothing to me. Over here, still sticking around. It's just, you know, killing these guys a couple models at a time. I think he's only hitting on 3s and winning on 2s, so it's like, you know, he's only got, like, 5 attacks, so he's a miss with some of them. EOS turn 5, I get Flux card 6, pretty much go right into the Matic phase. This point thing happened. I cast Quicksilver Lash on the Knights there, and I want to say I kill 3 of them. Or I might only kill 2 of them. Yeah, because there were 7. I only killed 2 of them, unfortunately. I must have rolled low on the D hits. But that's okay. And then at the start of Warriors turn 6, he charges Knights into my Imperial Guard. At this point, he's just thinking he's going to just try and kill my characters with, like, a couple of them. Like, you know, he can only get, like, 1 Knight on each of them. But he's just going to try and kill my characters. And then he can very possibly, you know, still get a lot of points, even if he gets wiped out by the Imperial Guard. And then over here, these light infantry are still sticking around, which is great. And then, unfortunately, in the last turn, I killed one of the Knights, one of the chosen Knights, and now he got the chance to put his Lord in there to do work. And now that he also did a bunch of wounds to Steam Tank last turn. It's only got 1 wound left. Just failed a bunch of armor saves. So in this combat, he gets a couple more spells off. He gets Break the Spirit off, and he gets the Evocation spell that lowers, like, their weapon skill. I think I wanted to try Break the Spirit, stop Break the Spirit, but I couldn't stop it, unfortunately. Because to me, that's, like, the worst of the 2 spells. Because with Hatred, I don't really mind hitting, like, having my weapon skill reduced. But, like, with Hatred and that, it is a little bit more rough for hitting. Yeah, it's Whispers of the Veil, I'm pretty sure, is the one that reduces your weapon skill. Yeah, and then the little lightning bolts that break the spirit spell. So, unfortunately, I'm hitting really poorly, but I do have Hatred, and I might get Battle Focus, so. Over here, actually, surprisingly, the Lord does not do any wounds to the Steam Tank. He just couldn't wound it with his only Strength 5. He just didn't get any 5-ups. But the Knights poke 1 wound through, so that was kind of weird, too, I guess. And then, again, surprisingly, the Light Infantry held up all the way to his turn 6. So, thankfully, like, that thing gets out, the Exalted Herald gets out, but it can't really do anything now. And then, unfortunately, in this combat, I lose my Marshal, but he only does 1 wound to each of them, I believe, and I pass my 4-up with my Prelate, but my BSB dies. And then we wipe out the rest of the dudes, reform, and then I decide to make the worst decision of the game. I don't know the worst, it might have been more bad decision. But at this point, I'm losing on the objective, and I think I had a misunderstanding of the objective. I'm pretty sure I was thinking about, like, an older version of Capture the Flag, where it was like you have to destroy the most or something like that. We actually forgot to pick. It's still the picking. They went back, I think. So I decided to charge with Break the Spirit on. I decided to charge my Imperial Guard into the Pride chosen on the right there, because there's only 2 guys left. And I'm thinking, like, oh, if I go in there, I might be able to tie the objective. Actually, I think I might have been able to tie the objective if I killed this unit. So I go in there with my Imperial Guard and my Prelate, and my Prelate fails his Dangerous Terrain test, and he dies. So that was a terrible, terrible idea. But the Imperial Guard and the Knights of Sun Griffin do make it in there. However, they still have a bunch of hexes on them. And, yeah, so that wasn't a really good idea. However, this what happens next is equally kind of amusing. So this is what the rest of the board looks like. This is basically what's going to look like at the end. His general's just to the right of the Knights of Sun Griffin. If you look at the top part of that picture, you can see that's the dude that's got his arms raised above his head. That's his sorcerer. I think he moved him out of the unit last turn because he didn't want to get charged by the Imperial Guard and me also do the same thing he just did to me. So I get a Flux card 3, which I get a decent amount of dice from. I throw 1 Ice and Fire at his mage, and I do 3 wounds, and he rolls 3 3-ups. And I actually kill his sorcerer. It was so random. I was just like, well, I mean, it's kind of was like, you know, it's like go for the glory, I guess, and it just worked. So that was a lucky swing. And then, unfortunately, I I think I win by like 4 or 5. He kills a decent amount of Imperial Guard. He puts like 1 wound on the Knights of Sun Griffon. I think the guy left has like, I think I do 4 wounds to him. But he gets to reroll his break test, and he passes that break test. So unfortunately, we couldn't even run him down. So I lost my Prelate, and I didn't really get much for it. So the point difference wasn't huge, though. It was only 894 points, because you know, we kind of killed a decent amount of each other's armies. He definitely got a lot more of mine, though, especially with me losing my Prelate. So it ends up being a 12-8, but then I lose on the objective, and it goes to a 15-5. So it's a 15-5 loss for myself. Yeah, I just don't know what I was thinking with the. I really shouldn't have charged. I should have just tried to just do it all with the Knights of Sun Griffon, because I mean, I was already losing the objective. So if I lost the Knights of Sun Griffon, it's not like I would have lost the objective worse. But then I guess they're almost about the same amount of points, honestly. 500 versus like 400. It's only a 100-point difference. So yeah, I don't know. I should almost just, but yeah, I almost should have just put the Knights of Sun Griffon in by themselves and hope that they could have done it. I guess they'll probably chosen, but I didn't, and I foolishly lost my Prelate. But you know what? That's the way the dice go, and that's the way the game went. And I hope you enjoyed watching this and tune in. I'm hoping to make another battle port this weekend, and you can see more of Siege of the Tower.